Hey there, Busy Bee. We all know how overwhelming meal planning can be, especially with our jam-packed schedules. But what if I told you that meal planning could be easy and enjoyable? Well, I've got the secret sauce right here. Get ready to dive into my Domestic Daydreams meal planning method in this episode of the Domestic Daydreams podcast. Hey domestic darlings, I'm so excited to dig into meal planning with you, especially because this is coming on the heels of me doing a little meal prepping with my mother-in-law and my niece-in-law, who is also pregnant right now as we get ready for our babies. So I also have a little bit of meal prepping tips in here for you as well. Alright, so my step one is always to make a master list. Now in my meal planning printable, which you can get the link to in the show notes, I always have a master recipe list of all of the recipes that you can list out. Like you just write everything down that you and your family know of that you like to eat. I'll go through our family recipe books that we have, my husband's family and then my family. We both have our own family recipe books. So that makes it super easy to go through and pick out what we might actually want to eat. And then just listing all the things we most commonly eat. We might brainstorm as a family to just get this giant master list done of all the recipes that we like. And then I always will print another page too so that I can keep adding on recipes as we try new recipes. And then I'll laminate it once that sheet is full. So I want you to think about your family recipes, mouthwatering dishes you've been dying to try. Don't forget to ask your loved ones for input. And then you just keep this list handy and update it regularly with any new recipes finds. I keep this list in my homemaking clipboard. You can keep it in if you have like a homemaking binder instead, that's also always a great option. So then step 2, once you have all of your meals listed out, it makes it really easy to match your meals to each day of the week. I also have like a little laminated printable for this that I can just use dry erase marker on to write in what meals I have picked for that week as I look at my master recipe list. I do my meal planning on Wednesdays after I've cleaned out the fridge. This helps because I kind of know what's in my fridge that's still good. I know what maybe leftovers are in there that are still good that need to be used. And then I also got rid of all of the junk that went bad or that we don't need anymore. Once you have your master list, it's time to assign meals to each day of the week. And if you're stuck, I've got a pro tip for you. You can try theme nights. So you can spice things up with a Mexican, Italian, American casserole night. You can really let your mind go wild on what themes you would like to use here. Or if you're working with food storage, this is something that I do a lot. We have a lot of dried food storage. I will assign a food group for each night, like lentil night, rice night, beans night, pasta night, bread/wheat night. And then I challenge myself to find a recipe that fits the theme. And I know that sounds like really hard off the top, but I'll give you examples. I like to make Hawaiian haystacks on rice night, dal makhni or lentil tacos on lentil night. Pasta night's pretty self-explanatory. Bread/wheat night, we might do pizzas or bread bowls with soup, something like that. Don't forget to dedicate one night a week too to trying a new recipe. Then step 3 is to take inventory and make a list. So before you hit the grocery store, it's always good to take a quick inventory of your fridge and pantry, which again is why I like to do this on Wednesdays when as part of our domestic darling morning cleaning routine, which is our true crime audio cleaning routines. I have a link also in the show notes for you to get some free episodes to that. Every Wednesday, the task is to clean out your fridge. So again, that's why I do this on Wednesdays, because I've already cleaned out the fridge and seen what's in there. It's also when my sales and restocks are really good at the stores. So this will help avoid you from buying doubles or overlooking like essential ingredients that you might need. I do have like a little list of things that you need from the grocery store, things that you don't like a little checklist that you can do in the in my printable. Oh my goodness, I can't talk to you today, you guys. As well, if you want to do that, or you can I use the Notes app on my phone a lot of the time too. So then it's shopping time is our step 4 on Wednesdays, which is the ultimate shopping day because there's the sales come on. I think they usually come on Tuesdays at most stores. I'm trying to remember back from when I worked at grocery stores. And then the stock, sales end on, I think they end on Sundays, and they either come on to sale on Tuesdays or Wednesdays, but the stores usually get their trucks with fresh stock if you're rural and they're not getting stock every night on Tuesdays and Fridays. So you don't want to go on a Tuesday or on a Friday when they're still restocking. You don't want to go on a Monday or a Thursday when things are pretty run out. The best day is to go on Wednesday, in my opinion, because everything's freshly stocked, but you're not in the middle of them trying to restock the store. If you live in a really rural area like me, I will plan ahead and place an order for pickup every 2 to 3 weeks at the store that's in the closest city, which is about an hour and 15 minutes from us. I will get the perishables once a week on Wednesdays from my local grocery store. Perishables produce and stuff that doesn't freeze well. So step 5 is to use bins or baskets to organize your non-perishables. So to make meal prep a breeze, you can organize your ingredients for the week separated by which meal or meals you'll be making on each day. So I have small bins or baskets in my pantry to store the non-perishable items, and I'll label each bin with the meals with the day of the week or with the meal's name for easy access. And I even laminate the labels, and I have it in the document as well, the printable, and just tie them onto the bin, and then I'll use a dry erase marker to write everything on there. This is such a great idea. I got it from a Passionate Penny Pincher, and it's been a game changer for me. Then for all your refrigerated goods, you can store them in the bottom drawers of your fridge or freezer so that they're always within reach, or you can pre-freeze or sample or prep them out by meal, in reusable Ziploc bags or something like that. And this takes me on to the meal prepping that I did with my family and prep for the babies. So what we did is we actually went in and we went through our family cookbook and found the meals that we can make meal kits for that were mostly non-perishable items that were all canned goods and stuff, because then we were able to meal prep ahead of time. We didn't have to worry about freezer space, and we also didn't have to worry about it going bad. And then there's some that do have fresh hamburger meat or something like that in there. I'm planning on freezing those ahead of time, the chopped onions or whatever, if there's other things in there, and I'm going to freeze them ahead of time and have them ready to go with a little note in the bin of non-perishables saying what to grab from the freezer. Another thing that you can do, I love, if you want to meal prep your food out for reals, the great thing about doing those is a lot of those recipes that are non-perishable, they're kind of dump meals, you can also take them out of the cans, dump them into a bag with the meats and stuff, freeze it, and then defrost it overnight and stick it in the crock pot the next day. We did a few like those too. Or I also love doing soup salad and breadsticks or bread of some sort for dinner, where I'll prep my sourdough bread and I will make salads in mason jars, and then I'll pick one day a month where I'll make a bunch of soups and freeze them all in individual cubes. So you can just run and grab the soup of your choice, or the soup that goes with the salad that night, and the salad's already done. It doesn't get soggy if you layer it correctly in the mason jar, and then we'll just pop some bread in the oven, and it works super well. That's always a favorite when we're trying to eat healthy. All right, so your step 6 is to cook like a queen. After each night's cooking session, you'll pull out the recipe and bin for the next day's meal and double check all your necessary ingredients. If needed, you'll thaw any meat ahead of time in the fridge, and the next morning you can start your slow cooker or make dinner super quick at night. So it's just that little extra step after dinner to make sure that you have everything that you need in that bin for your next night's meal. So I hope that this was helpful and got your brain going on a little bit of meal prep and meal planning ideas. Some other things that are great for meal prepping are sheet pan dinners. You can throw all the ingredients in a freezer bag and freeze it, and then just throw it onto a sheet pan and cook it in the oven. Like I said, dump crock pot meal, always great. The non-perishable canned good meal kits are always fun. Those are great for things like Frito pie or taco salad, or anything kind of like that where you just are using a lot of canned goods anyways. Tortilla soup, a lot of kind of soup kits in general. Those work really, really well for the non-perishable meal kits. So those are all things that you can go and type into Pinterest right now and do a little bit of searching. You can even make a separate master list, print out an extra sheet, and then you can just use that for a specific like meal prepping sheet or master list of ideas for ones that you can meal prep once a week. All right, so I'll see you on the next episode. I hope today's podcast was helpful. It's one of my favorite topics. I love cooking in general, so anything meal prepping or meal planning or cooking, I'm all about. If you have any other questions or ideas of your own, screenshot this podcast, share it on your stories, or DM us, and we will get back to you on it. Hey there, domestic darling. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode of the Domestic Daydreams podcast. Be sure to check the show notes for any important links or freebies that I may have mentioned, and we'll see you next time.